Hi! So the Group Finder was announced today, kind of again, and will be coming out on the 7th of February. So very, very soon, along with the new event also rolling out the Year of the Dragon. The devs talked about it a little bit, and then they also made a post about it, and I want to quickly summarize that because they did like a 20-minute talk on something that could have been summed up a lot quicker. So, what they said about the new system is that the system is primarily to find groups for lower level mutations in order to be able to unlock M3. So this is very much catered to newer players. And with the system itself, they also have more flexibility than with the OPR system. They said that M3 is not included because right now you need the right gear and gems for M3. And they also hope to just generally get more players into the M3 bucket by having the system so that it should be easier to find groups for M3s anyways. And the old lobby finder still exists, but the old lobby finder doesn't have cross-world, which I think is by far the biggest problem about this whole thing, because the new system is a separate system that also has cross-world included, while the old group finder is the old system completely without cross-world included, and I think the middle ground would have been much, much better here. Trading is disabled while you are in Crossworlds, so you can't just influence other servers' economies by trading through the group finder. And now let's dive a little bit more into what the devs had to show us here. So first of all, you have the activity finder system now, where you can see all of the options, all of the activities, formerly modes tab, and from there you can see the new screen which gathers all of New World's instant content in one place for easy access. Similar to Outpost Rush, any player from any world within the same region can be matched together to form a new instance. This means significantly less time spent finding groups and more time running expeditions. You also no longer need to build your own group by hand. These new activity screens finally allow you to view any expedition entrance screen and lobby finder from a single list instead of the map, also very convenient. So this is what the whole thing looks like, and you can also just random queue on the side here or select specific expeditions. And what you also notice on the right side here is the allow in progress joining. So participating in an expedition that has already started. They do also mention here that you can still build your own expedition group, enter expeditions manually and use the lobby-based group finder if you prefer. Next point here is how to play cross-world expeditions. If you're playing solo or in a group of 4 or less adventurers, you can enter the cross-world expedition group finder in one of two ways. Either you click random to enter a queue for every expedition you can currently access. This is the quickest way to find a group and grants a bonus upon completion twice daily. Or use the checkboxes on the left of each expedition to make specific expedition list and then click the queue button. There's no daily bonus for this option, but you'll have more control over the selected expedition. This is what that selection would, for example, look like. Before you can enter the expedition queue, you need to choose a role. We introduced group roles along with our lobby-based group finder, but they were optional. Now they are mandatory since expeditions are designed around the classic trinity of DPS, tank and healer, and there is no group leader to enforce this balance in the new system. This means that each expedition must consist of 3 DPS, 1 tank and 1 healer. Any player who signs up as a tank or healer will receive an additional role bonus when finishing the expedition. In order to sign up as a tank or healer, you must pass a requirement check. These vary depending on the expedition. When entering as a group, all players must choose a role. The roles selection screen will display each player's selection. As you can see here, you have the DPS with any weapon, you have the tank with any weapon with a carnelian gem, and then you have the healer with a level 9 life staff and 220 focus here. Again, this varies depending on the expedition. The queue is similar to 3 of the arenas, visible from both in-game and the activity finder. You won't be able to accept invites from other modes or enter different queues while waiting for a crossworld expedition. Currently, the only information displayed in the queue is time elapsed, and they will add more visibility to the queue in a future update, so this is very much what you would be familiar with. Once inside the expedition, your random group will receive a 15% damage, healing and max HP buff to compensate for the lack of familiarity when playing together. If a group member drops, you won't be able to send invites from inside a crossworld expedition. Instead, after the drop player's 3-minute rejoin grace period ends, the queue system will find the first available backfill. Backfills will always have the same role as the player who left. Players that prefer to avoid backfilling roles can opt out of joining in-progress expeditions via the toggle beneath the queue button. See, you have the backfilling queue here, and I showed you the button earlier already for joining backfill or not. Players that leave the expedition after 10 minutes without going through a group-voted abandon receive the deserter penalty. This penalty prevents players from queuing again for 10 minutes, this value may change. To initiate an abandoned expedition, vote, use the triple dot menu in the group HUD or find the abandon button on the map screen in the backfilling HUD. Mutated expeditions function like normal expeditions except for the following differences. Elite M3 is too difficult and not available through the Crossworld Group Finder. We already talked about that. They want to keep M3 competitive and maintain highly coordinated team play. You can still use the lobby-based Group Finder for M3s. Anyone placed into a difficulty level lower than what they've unlocked will earn a carry bonus upon completion of the expedition. The random daily bonus is available once daily. Entrance criteria and role selection validation are much more stringent. And you need the Rise of the Angry Earth expansion to participate in Mutated Expeditions. Keep an eye out for daily, role, and carry bonus rewards at the end of the expedition. Each one will be added to your inventory upon completion. Note that XP rewards are instantly received when defeating the final boss. Rewards with daily limits resets at 5 AM local time. As usual, don't need to explain that. All of the values here may be changed based on player feedback. For normal expeditions, you get the expedition bonus cash twice daily. If the player is under level 65, you get 50% XP of current level, which is granted upon expedition completion, and 3 vials of Azoth. If the player is level 65, they get 125 gold and 2,500 faction tokens. The expedition roll bonus cash is twice daily here with 50 gold and 500 faction tokens. Again, this is both twice daily, so this is a reasonable amount. And then in Mutated Expeditions, on top of that, you get the Mutator bonus cash once daily with 150 gold and 10,000 faction tokens. So that's a lot more worth it in comparison. You get the Mutator bonus roll cash for 100 gold and 1,000 faction tokens. And you get the Mutator carry bonus cash once daily for 100 gold. I would say that the Mutator run could honestly be worth it at this point. You get an easy 350 gold there, if this is a quick run, that's the big assumption here, and you get 11,000 faction tokens. So depending on how fast you're running, depending on what level of mutation and which expedition you're getting, I think this could be okay, especially because you have some more control in terms of what expedition you end up in, as obviously not every expedition is mutated at the same time, so you kind of know which ones you could be in for. Overall, I still think the most important thing for them to add to all of this is the M3 Crossworld. Not necessarily this Group Finder system, but Crossworld in the old Group Finder system. They asked as well what mode we'd like to see Crossworld next. I was kind of surprised by that because I thought it was kind of established that would be Arena, and they were kind of hinting at that also getting a role system of some kind, so maybe at least to balance the healers per team. But maybe that's not longer locked in. Maybe they are considering other options here. I can't really imagine that they would do wars, because that would only make sense in the context of casual wars when they're talking about the group finder system in that context. So I don't really see how that would work. It would be too much of an effort, I think, for them to do that in a reasonable amount of time compared to just doing arenas. But then again, we know that arenas are their forgotten child, so who knows. And they also announced something completely different, which is that crafting, or cooking specifically, will have some more significant changes. We knew about a start of that from some changes in the recent patch. But at the end, teasing the next video, was the part saying they want a small amount of things in the menus, so it's not as messy. So they're cutting out a lot of the current food. There's a lot of food at the moment that doesn't really have much value. And that's going to be interesting if that's just going to be affecting cooking or more than that. But even if it's just cooking, that will already be a pretty good start. Once we know more, I will of course let you know, so consider subscribing, clicking the bell if you want to get notified. And if you'd like to support me further, you can do so on Patreon. Thanks to all of my patrons who already do exactly that. Thank you for watching. Sloth, out.